Hey.
Go get him, Yogi. Go get him.
They're just checking on him. That's why I went down there. Making sure he's okay.
National Park Service would like to welcome you aboard for our trip out to Fort Sumter today. My name is Rob, and I'm a volunteer with the National Park Service. We also have Ranger Walt on board. But he asks about the bridge. We're very proud of it. Opened in 2005. And that middle spans over 180 feet. It allows those large container ships to compete, which is it's all of our container ports on the other side of the bridge. The Corps of Engineers just finished about a year and a half or two ago keeping the project for our channel. That whole area used to be the location called Gadsden. Back in the later 1700s, that was by far the largest Charleston. It looks like our version is back. That is based out of Charleston, KOA.
And welcome everybody to Fort Sumter and Fort Moultrie National Historical Park. 4 years between April 1861 and April 1865. 4 years of the American Civil War. That is called Castle Pinckney. That often gets confused for Fort Sumter. It was built in 1809 and is one of the many harbor forts trying to defend the city against a British Royal Navy attack. That is what basically all the forts here in Charleston were originally intended to block. And that is going to include Fort Sumter, which started being built in 1829. If we look ahead and to the left of Castle Pinckney, on our port side of the boat, we're going to see the U.S. flag at the horizon. That is our destination. That is Fort Sumter. So way out there at the mouth and the entrance from the Atlantic Ocean to this harbor. So if you are sailing from the Atlantic into this harbor, you would have to pass between Fort Sumter and another position called Fort Moultrie. So good at blocking any British attacks. Beginning of April 1861, you would be going to the one place in Charleston Harbor flying a United States flag. Everywhere else is flying various flags of secession instead. Flags that say that they are trying to break away from that United States flag. In November 1860, the man who wins the presidential election, Abraham Lincoln. Abe Lincoln is elected president on the platform, the proposal of stopping the spread of slavery to new western states. The people who make decisions here in Charleston are so angry, they're going to sign their names to a piece of paper. That piece of paper is going to say that they are leaving the United States. They, like our Declaration of Independence, they'll list out their reasons why in a Declaration of Secession. Abe Lincoln is hostile to slavery, so South Carolina is getting out of here. We're going to form our own new governments, they say, and our own new country. So for a second, put yourself in the shoes of a United States soldier here in this harbor. Do you think that that puts you in a difficult position? Yes, it does. Because now the city you're defending says that your U.S. flag is a threat and it's got to come down. The guy who's going to be commanding these soldiers is a man named Major Robert Anderson. He's a career military officer. He's about 55. And he is going to be assigned here in November. Great timing, right? Fort Moultrie is on Sullivan's Island. Fort Moultrie is very low to the ground fort. It's been here since the American Revolution in one way or another. Major Anderson will look around and say, this fort is just not cutting it. It is very low to the ground. And a few months before he got there, one of his subordinates tells him that local cattle, were actually able to walk over the walls. That was due to a large sand dune on one of the walls. He's a little concerned about that, particularly given that there are angry militiamen in downtown Charleston who have been training with guns. And they've recently got a roadmap in one of the local newspapers. Hey, here's a map of Fort Moultrie. Here it's strong points and weak points. Just saying. So, he says, we're not going to stay in Fort Moultrie, where we might get attacked by those militiamen. We're going to move to a place with almost 50-foot high walls, surrounded by water. Not an easy place for the cows and the militiamen to get in. Fort Sumter. They make the move the day after Christmas, 1860. So, the locals get a Christmas present. Huge U.S. flag over Fort Sumter. Between you and me, I think they're not very grateful for that Christmas present. They're angry. They're so angry that they're going to start placing cannons around the harbor, pointing at Fort Sumter and the United States flag. James Island, Morris Island, Sullivan's Island, both in the harbor. All pointing cannons at the one U.S. flag in the middle, and the just over 80 United States soldiers who defend it. That'll be the case for about the next 3.5 months. Negotiations will fail. Attempts to resupply the fort by the United States will also fail. And on April 12th, 1861, I think that these soldiers at Fort Sumter will be seeing the most fearsome sight of their often pretty young lives. They'll be seeing a firework. It was a signal. It was fired from the Confederate orders on Fort Johnson and explodes overhead of Fort Sumter to tell every other Confederate position in the harbor to open fire on the U.S. flag in the middle. It's a signal for 34 hours, a day and a half of battle, and as it turned out, for 4 long years of the deadliest war in American history. By the time the battle's over, it's pretty clear that the U.S. soldiers are going to have a lot of trouble holding on to their position. They're not going to. For one thing, their fort is on fire. The fire has been spreading through the wooden roofs of their barracks buildings, and it's dangerously close to where they keep their main gunpowder supply. So they have to block themselves off from their gunpowder. They're also about to run out of food. Major Anderson writes that they have nothing left but limited supplies of salt pork, and they are not doing much damage at all in return to the Confederate positions. Remarkably, nobody on either side of this battle is killed, mainly because Major Anderson will order his men to fire from the lowest deck of the fort. Got a 3-story fort, and the lowest level, good for defense, protecting his limited cannon crews from the incoming fire. Not as great for offense in trying to injure the Confederate positions. On April 14th, 1861, the United States flag is going to come down over Fort Sumter. Nobody knows if it will ever fly at this site again at that point. Major Anderson is going to order a salute to the United States flag, a 100-gunshot salute. Sounds like a good idea. Loyalty, honor the loyalty and bravery of the men, honor the flag, lots of pageantry, awesome. But there's an accident. A loose spark gets where it shouldn't, near a bag of gunpowder. It will explode, will send debris flying everywhere, and it will kill 2 men. Privates Daniel Howe and Edward Galway. And the first 2 deaths out of over 700,000 people in Civil War to come. Do you think this looks like the tall and imposing fort that Major Anderson moved his troops out to? I'm going to say that it does not. Instead, this is the historic ruins of Fort Sumter. Some of that damage was done in the first battle. A lot more of it's going to be done later in the war. In 1863, the United States is going to say, we want it back. We want Charleston back. We want these forts back. They're going to get a foothold over on Morris Island. Once they have cannons on Morris Island, which takes a little while, they can fire at Fort Sumter, less than a mile away. They can even get cannons to the city of Charleston, more than 4 miles away. On April 14th, 1865, it's been 4 years to the day since the U.S. flag came down. And now, it's going back up. The same exact flag, the same physical fabric. Robert Anderson is actually here to re-raise that flag, to say that this is still the same country that he fought for 4 years ago. He and you are coming to the place where the first deaths of the Civil War happened. You are coming to the place that has been destroyed by 4 years of this conflict. And you are all here to see the United States flag over Fort Sumter. In April of 1865, seeing that flag go up will be the first time the lives of 4 million people across this country, they might be able to celebrate as free people of the United States because of what happened here. So thank you to all of you for choosing to come to one of the most important places in our country.
She found seashells in the fort.
There's seashells in the fort.
The war, yeah, damaging the walls. Although it was an active fort. In the 40s, they had anti-aircraft guns on it. Imagine you were a Union soldier and the enemies were all, you were surrounded. Pretty tall, up to that red line. That's the Atlantic Ocean. Right there. On the other side of that. And that. That would be freaky being out here, though. Realizing that all these people around you, all these houses in this city, wants to kill you. Out here, all by yourself. He said only 2 people were injured, or were killed, actually. 2 people were killed in an explosion, but that was it. And then they surrendered ultimately. Well, they were outnumbered. They were getting beamed on by everybody. In fact, there's the fort right there. Across the way, that's the fort that was firing on them. See where the flags are? You guys see that? That had to be where an AA gun was in World War II.
That was a tank.
Just in case the Germans, they had submarines up and down the coast. 5-foot thick outer walls would tower 50 feet above the water level. So it was pretty imposing at the time. But it was only 90% complete in 1860, right before the war. I don't know. Good question. Here's when they requested the surrender.
How are you? good feet you're trying to figure out in here. Because they're rainwater collection. But yeah, you don't have to drink the salt water of the harbor. And you don't have to drink the fresh water.
There's the opening shot. It talks about 10-inch mortar at 4:30 a.m. Burst immediately over the fort. Huh. But that woke him up.
Had a 15-pound rifle, cartridge box for your ammunition, campaign.
At least it wasn't August, right?
If you were there, you would be marching basically up on a tight
Wow, look at those rounds.
over a hot July afternoon.
Wow.
And then you get to your target in the evening, and then you actually sing, right?
And they have iron around the outside to protect it.
It's a lot more air.
Oh, a grenade. Yeah. See these long sticks? They used to shove the cannonball in from the end.
So they use the wood piles to shove cannonball in.
Uh huh. Yep.
So you can see right here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right in the middle.
Most all the brick that you see in the fort were made in local plantations, except some of the specialty brick from high fireplaces.
Wow.
The only thing left
Right.
that
Yeah.
shows they even existed.
That's what you're asking how to do it.
Yeah, you can see so some of these big Rodman cannons, like the ones over at Fort Moultrie, took cannonballs that weighed over 400 pounds. So you can imagine trying to load those in a barrel.
Yeah.